What a beautiful day. So, I kind of want to talk about my frustrations with the medical model system, the way it provides treatment for people diagnosed with a mental illness. As I've had personal experience and journey through that maze. 6, 7 doctors, all working with the same diagnosis. Not one of them ever questioned what any of them before had determined. After 5.5 years following what these doctors were suggesting in an effort to become well, I finally decided that, these guys are all working on a carburetor when we've got an intake manifold problem. They've put 5 carburetors on this thing. It's still running the same. It's no wonder. I mean, one doctor diagnosed the problem as he saw it, and all the rest of them just jumped right in line, right behind him. I mean, that just seems a little bit weird. It's like, I remember in my auto repair shop one day I got a call from this lady wanting to know what it would cost to put a carburetor on her Chevy van, and the short of it was she already had 5 carburetors put on it. So I kind of doubted it needed a carburetor. She told me it was running the same way it was running before the first one was replaced. So I'm like, well, how can you put 5 carburetors on a vehicle, rebuilt carburetors right out of the box, and have it still run the same way it was running before you even changed one? But that's what was going on with me, jumping from one doctor to another. Well, they're all treating the same problem that only one doctor diagnosed. I mean, I told this lady, sure, bring your van out. I'll give you an estimate for a carburetor if that's what it needs, but I kind of doubt it needs one. You've already had 5 of them put on. I said, I'll tell you what, you bring it out, I'll figure out what it needs, and we'll go from there. Sure enough, it never needed a carburetor. It had an intake manifold leak. It's causing the thing to run super lean. But everybody who worked on it from the very first person was working with the same diagnosis. The thing needs a carburetor. I guess nobody took the time to go, wait a minute, what if this diagnosis of it needs a carburetor isn't right? Then you're going to get 5 carburetors. That's what you got. But that's kind of what I felt I was in with all these doctors, and at one time 8 different medications. I mean, come on, kids, 8 medications? That's kind of like 5 carburetors. Not much different. So, wanting to figure this out myself, or take a different direction, I should say, I found myself on a totally different path to wellness, and one that soon found myself off all these medications. But in any case, all the stuff that I was doing made total sense to me. These pills didn't make much sense. So that's my frustration, is the system's probably not likely to change until the majority of the people are willing to look a different direction, like a flock of birds. 500,000 birds. You know what I'm talking about. There's like a gazillion of them. They just, all of a sudden, they just change direction. Same with the school fish. So here we are, flock of humans, whatever you want to call us, still focused on the same direction, the same path. There's a few changes. There's all this peer support business going on, but I think that's just a life raft for Big Pharma. Hang on as long as they can. There's an awful lot of directives and commands coming from those that don't know shit. Trying to tell people in the peer sport world what it is they don't even know to begin with. I worked in an emergency room here in my state as a peer support worker. And that was frustrating because the doctors are just so quick to say, let's medicate and lock them up. It was almost like having arguments every day with professionals who've been trained how to treat people with a mental illness diagnosis or label. I don't recall being super impressed with any of these doctors. Not when it came to empathy and compassion and relating to folks who are having a struggle. There's no training for that. So if the doctors are never taught this stuff, how in the world is somebody ever going to find out when that's one of the first places they go for help? When having these kinds of challenges. So that's what I found. I found when I cleaned my upper gut out, started paying attention to the things that I eat, started eating all good organic raw food, get a good probiotic in my upper gut, plus a regular dose of fermented food like kimchi, my brain started clearing out. You add those coffee enemas in that mix, and lo and behold, I don't need any of that atrocious medication. I don't even know why they call it medication. It doesn't actually do anything. Test after test have proven there isn't any results really with that stuff. Nobody getting any results. Why we keep doing it? That's what I want to know. But we will, until the whole flock decides to look the other way. So until enough of us birds decide to look the other way, we'll probably keep prodding along in this direction, spending all kinds of money, drugs and psychiatrists and psychobabble therapy, psychotherapy. That's the way it is. That's what I'm frustrated about. the flock of birds. Keeps flying the same way, doing the same thing, getting little to no results. The proof of that was in that book written by Richard, his last name escapes me, but it was The Anatomy of a Epidemic. If what we're doing is helping, why are so many more people becoming mentally ill? It's time to look the other way, folks. It's time to look the other way. I feel great. That was a beautiful walk.